Okay. Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming. Well, I guess it's number 10, our second last lecture of the semester, that's put on by the UBSS Hempology 101 Club and the International Hempology 101 Society. My name is Ted Smith. I'm the president of the nonprofit society, and we'll be speaking a brief time today. Most of the talk will be Jason Wilcox, someone with much more experience dealing with Health Canada than I. But I wanted to put the medical marijuana access regulations, or we'll say MMAR today for short, in context a little bit for everyone. Certainly, when I started the Cannabis Buyers Club in '96, there were no medical laws in Canada, so the Charter of Rights and Freedoms had been in effect since the mid-90s, or 80s, sorry. The first case that really cracked it open, although there were, I guess, individual medical cases where people were granted different good sentences from judges. Jim Wakeford and he had somebody else, I forget his name, were the first in the country to get what was called Exemption 56 from the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. It was granted to them by a judge. They're people living with AIDS, two men living with AIDS, and it was proved to the judge they needed it. And the judge had no other mechanism but to use this previously unknown exemption, which was either granted by judges or the Minister of Health. And so the Minister of Health began giving out exemptions, and on a case-by-case basis, and it was very bogged down, such that very quickly, July 31st, 2000, Terry Parker decision declared the exemption process unconstitutional. So it wasn't accessible to most people that were sick and at the discretion of the minister and not doctors. And so they gave the government 1 year to come up with some sort of regulatory scheme to see that people that needed it medically could gain access to it. So July 31st, 2001, the MMAR was brought into effect, and there's been many flaws with it from the beginning. So the government has stated that they've included committees with knowledgeable people, and said that they've been open to public dialogue. The programs have, as you'll hear, not been to the benefit of the members, and several court decisions since then have struck down several sections of the MMAR, and every time that happens in court, the government just changes and makes amendments, and new challenges need to be addressed. So I'd like to just give a quick introduction of Jason. Is that I think he started to become active in the cannabis movement by being involved in the Canadian AIDS Society committee that studied the MMAR and released a report this spring. And that extensive report commented on many of the aspects of the MMAR and the effect of people living with AIDS, but also just in general as well, that need medical marijuana. And the committee is still ongoing, and he's very involved through the national medical marijuana movement. So we're very glad to have you today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Wilcox. I've been a medical marijuana user since 1993 when I was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS and hepatitis B. At this time, I was dealing with some personal issues from my past that have led me to my illness, and a friend turned me on to cannabis, which to me was the top drug. It seemed like a drug with any medicinal properties. Having just started into a tobacco treatment at the time with low CD4 Tylenol, which was during 6 months of this, doctors didn't know a lot about HIV/AIDS back at the time. This basically led me to be introduced to cannabis to get off some of the things like Stemetil, Tylenol freeze, Resveratrol, various other big pharma drugs that were destroying my revenue, where cannabis was able to replace these particular medications. A lot of this led me to want to get more involved. I've been an HIV activist for some time. What got me more involved is when, well, first off, I did not speak for anywhere. According to Health Canada, I've been with the program since 2002. However, I never received the federal license until 2004. For that reason, because back then, prior to what's now known as the Phase 2 amendments, which were brought about through the Canadian courts, I could not order any product from PPS at this particular time. Prairie Plant Systems Incorporated was part of the Phase 2 amendments because nobody could access supplies at this particular time. And at the time also, I needed a specialist and a doctor to conclude that cannabis would work. That's like almost impossible to kind of get a doctor and a specialist to both concur that cannabis is better than any traditional therapy available on the market. So that was a huge area for many of us, and we addressed it at the national level. The Phase 2 amendment passed while our 18-month project was going, and during these Phase 2 amendments, it was found that they have to get rid of a few things. There's one, of course, the area of the specialist. So now a regular GP can sign anybody for a license, which was a big barrier that was reduced. Another thing was that the government needed to come up with a supply. So they decided to come up with what we have here, Prairie Plant Systems Incorporated, and what they feel is a supply. I like to refer to some of the governments around Canada as Canada crap. Because, quite frankly, that's what it is. It's one strain. Health Canada loves to go on and tell everybody how it's just one strain. In fact, research and court documents came to tell us that, in fact, two strains were put together. Two former hybrids were put together to come up with the one strain cannabis they're using now. But they still maintain that one strain can cure everybody. If that was the case, I argue, why don't compassion clubs have that one super strain? Why don't we have multiple strains for multiple ailments? I mean, we're talking human genetics versus plant genetics, something that hasn't really been looked at. And the government has pulled $4 million research grants that we had to look at some of these aspects. And at the same time, maintain that their stance is that they can continue to sell PPS. I mean, in fact, they wanted to dispense through pharmacies. 2007 was what they said. Personal production license, which is something that I have myself. There's three types of ways you can get a service from the federal government. That's, of course, after you get this in the mail, and you go through a 32-page application, or 33, whatever it is now. So this is something that, for the average person, anybody wants to take a look at, it's welcome to come up and take a look afterwards. But for an average person, it has to go through 33 pages and, to apply to a federal program to get your application, to get your cannabis. And after going to your doctors and going through all the stuff, you have to take pictures. All this gets sent in, and the end game is that I have to renew my license. The problem that I have with needing to renew is that HIV/AIDS doesn't need to be renewed until the word cure is splashed across, the province newspaper or something.